Your energy is more important than your time. You can get your time back tomorrow, but if you waste your energy today, you can't think, you can't focus, and you can't perform. Most people don't even realize it, but they're tired before the day begins. They say they want to be successful, but they don't protect the one thing that fuels everything: energy. You can have great goals, but if your energy is low, nothing moves. You feel stuck, frustrated, and behind. If you're always tired, it's not your work. It's how you're using your energy. You say yes too often. You talk too much about the wrong things. You stay around the wrong people. Then you wonder why you can't stay focused. In this video, I'm going to show you how to master your energy step by step. Once you do that, everything gets better: your mind, your focus, your results. Stay with me. This is how real change. 1. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. That might be the most freeing decision you ever make in your life. Because when you try to prove yourself to people who have already made up their mind about you, you're wasting two things you can't get back: your energy and your time. And those two things are the foundation of everything meaningful you'll ever build. If someone is not willing to understand you, no amount of words will change their view. They're not listening to grow. They're listening to argue. They're not asking questions to know more. They're waiting for their turn to talk. And if you keep explaining yourself to that kind of person, all you're doing is draining yourself dry. You lose your focus, you lose your calm, you lose your clarity, something that took me years to learn. Your energy is limited. If you give it to the wrong situations and the wrong people, you will not have enough left for the right ones. You could have a great plan, a strong work ethic, and the right vision, but if your energy is scattered, it won't matter. You'll be tired before the real work even starts. Every time you explain yourself to someone who's not really hearing you, you give away a little part of your drive. You give away your confidence. You start to question your own judgment. That's not growth. That's destruction. And it's slow. You don't see it at first, but you feel it. You feel it in how tired you get around certain people. You feel it in how your mood drops after a 5-minute conversation. You feel it when you start avoiding your own goals because you're too caught up defending them. So stop defending what you believe. Just live it. Stop proving your value. Just deliver it. Stop justifying your decisions. Just stand behind them. The people who really matter won't need explanations. They'll see the work. They'll respect the discipline. They'll notice. And it's because we're too busy talking to people who don't even value what we're building. Imagine how much clearer your mind would be if you stopped replaying conversations that didn't matter. Imagine how much more peace you'd have if you didn't carry the weight of other people's confusion about your life. You don't need to make sense to everyone. You don't need everyone to agree. What you need is to stay focused on your mission. What you need is to keep your energy clean. If someone misunderstands you on purpose, let them. If someone mislabels your silence, let them. If someone doubts your path, let them. You don't owe them an explanation. You owe yourself results. You want to master your energy? Start there. Stop explaining yourself. Speak where your words can grow. Explaining yourself. You'll feel something powerful: freedom. Freedom from approval. Freedom from noise. Freedom from trying to fix what was never your job to fix. And that's when your energy starts to rise. That's when you get your clarity back. That's when your mind starts working again. You start showing up with purpose. You start finishing what you start. You stop hesitating. You stop second guessing. You move, you act, you grow. So I'll tell you one more time, not to convince you, but to remind you of what you already know. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. They're not your problem. Your energy is. And when you take care of that, everything else begins to change. Number 2, take breaks before your mind starts breaking down. Most people push themselves too far and then wonder why they can't think straight. They wait until their body crashes, their mind shuts down, and their motivation disappears. But energy doesn't vanish all at once. It fades slowly. It's not a dramatic collapse. It's small moments of neglect. And one of the biggest mistakes you can make is refusing to pause when your mind is asking for rest. You don't need to wait for burnout to know you're going too far. The signs show up early. You feel irritated for no reason. You find it harder to focus. Simple decisions start feeling like pressure. Your patience runs thin. You become numb to what used to excite you. That's not laziness, that's mental fatigue. And if you don't take it seriously, you'll end up stuck in cycles that keep repeating because your mind doesn't have space to create something better. Rest is not a luxury, it's part of the process. And if you ignore that, you'll pay for it with confusion, mistakes, and a lack of progress. The goal isn't to work nonstop. The goal is to stay clear, consistent, and sharp. And you can't do that if you're tired all the time. You can't master your energy if you don't know when to pause. Taking a break doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you care enough about your goals to protect the mind that's going to reach them. It's about knowing when to back off so you can come back stronger. If you treat rest as weakness, you'll burn out trying to prove your worth. But if you treat rest as fuel, you'll stay sharp while others fade. You've probably noticed something. When you're tired, everything feels heavier. Problems feel bigger. Small tasks feel annoying. Conversations feel harder. And that's not because life suddenly changed. That's because your mind is tired. When you ignore that, you lose the edge. Your emotions become louder. Your vision becomes blurry. And your energy drops so low that even simple tasks start to feel impossible. That's why breaks matter. They're not time wasted, they're time protected. They're your way of saying, my mind is a tool and I need to take care of it. They give you space to reset your thinking, to remind yourself what matters, to recover the focus that gets buried under noise and pressure. Taking a break isn't something you ask permission for. It's something you schedule like everything else. Because when you leave it to chance, it never happens. You'll keep pushing, telling yourself you're almost done. You'll ignore the signals, your tired eyes, your scattered thoughts, your heavy breathing. And you'll pretend it's just a phase. But it's not a phase. It's your mind asking for help. And if you don't answer, you'll lose more than time. You'll lose the ability to enjoy what you're working for. You see, no one gets running on empty. Strength comes from restoration, from being honest about your limits, from knowing that stepping back for a moment isn't a setback. It's preparation. It's getting your energy right so you don't collapse mid-journey. People respect the grind, but they forget the recovery. But look at anyone who's mastered their life, whether it's in business, art, health, or leadership. They all have something in common. They know how to pull back before they fall apart. They know when they're at their best and when they need to reset. That's not luck. That's discipline backed by wisdom. And here's something most people won't admit. Some of your best ideas come when you're not working, when your mind is relaxed, when you're out for a walk, when you're sitting quietly with no pressure. That's when insight shows up, form, not when you're stressed, rushing, or halfway focused. So when you feel your mind getting foggy, don't ignore it. When your focus keeps slipping, don't push through it. When your thoughts are scattered and your patience is low, don't pretend you're okay. Step away, breathe, reset, do something different. Step into silence, step into stillness, step into space that allows you to hear your own thoughts again. This isn't about slowing down your success. It's about making sure your success is real, steady, and sustaining your goals if your mind is falling apart in the process. What's the use of achieving something big if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? That's not the path you want. You want energy that lasts, clarity that stays, focus that shows up when it counts. And you get all of that by knowing when to rest, body to shut down. Don't wait until you get sick. Don't wait until your mind is too numb to care. Master your energy by listening early, responding early, resting early. That's the kind of power that doesn't burn out. That's how you keep going, not by pushing harder, but by knowing when to stop. If you truly want to master your energy, don't just focus on what you can do, focus on what you should pause. Pay attention to your mind. It will always tell you when it needs a break. The question is, will you listen or will you keep pushing until you crash? You choose. You can either build a strong mind with smart rest, or you can break it by ignoring what it's trying to tell you. Take breaks. That choice will make all the difference. Number 3, limit small talk that kills your mental sharpness. Mental sharpness is not you just wake up with. It's built, it's earned. The fastest ways to lose it is by letting too much useless conversation take over your day. People think words don't cost much, but they do. Every conversation pulls from your focus. Every minute you spend locked in small talk is a minute you're not using to think clearly, to plan, to act, or to solve real problems. That might not sound like a big deal, but over time it weakens your attention and makes your thoughts feel scattered. Small talk is everywhere. It starts with casual greetings that go nowhere. It turns into endless comments about the weather, the news, someone else's life, things that don't impact you at all. And before you know it, you spend an hour using your energy on nothing meaningful. You didn't grow. You didn't build. You didn't improve. You just stayed busy. And mental sharpness is not about being busy. It's about being precise. Now, I'm not saying you have to walk around being cold or silent. What I'm saying is you have to choose who and some conversations sharpen. They open your eyes, they build ideas. You walk away feeling more aware, more focused, more alive. But that's not small talk. That's real communication. That's rare. Small talk kills sharpness because it trains your mind to stay on the surface. It keeps your brain bouncing between low-level subjects that don't require real thought. It pulls your focus away from things that matter, and it creates this false sense of connection. You feel like you're interacting, but there's no depth, no progress, no clarity, just noise. And when your mind gets used to noise, it starts avoiding depth. You lose your ability to think deeply, to sit with silence, to process complexity. Sharp minds are built in quiet spaces. They're built in moments of reflection. They're built by asking questions that matter, even if they're uncomfortable. If all your conversations are easy and shallow, you won't develop the strength to handle hard thinking. You'll get used to distraction. And the more distracted you are, the less control you have to start protecting your energy from empty talk. It doesn't mean you can't be friendly. It means you stop giving your time to repeated conversations that go nowhere. It means you notice when someone's only trying to pass time, not grow. It means you recognize when your brain starts drifting because it's bored, not because you're lazy. Mental sharpness requires that you be aware of how you use your words and how others use people who love small talk because it keeps them from facing their own thoughts. And they'll pull you into that rhythm if you let them. You'll find yourself repeating the same stories, the same gossip, the same surface opinions, and you won't even notice how tired your mind feels afterward. But it shows up later. You'll try to focus on something important and you'll struggle. You'll try to write, plan, solve, and you'll feel slow. That's not random. That's the cost of letting your focus leak into useless places. Every sharp thinker I've ever known guards their space. They don't waste words. They don't talk to fill silence. They don't interrupt their focus for every distraction that passes by. And people often mistake that for being distant. But it's not distance, it's discipline. They know how valuable their mental energy is, and they don't hand it out carelessly. They know that clarity takes effort, and effort needs protection. You're not being rude when you choose to limit small talk. You're being responsible. You're choosing growth over distraction. You're training yourself to value quality over comfort. Most people won't understand that. They'll want your attention just because they're bored. But you don't owe anyone access to your focus. You owe it to yourself to build a life that's intentional. Think about the times you've had a real conversation, one that stayed with you, one that challenged your view, one that made you feel alive. How did your mind feel afterward? Clear, awake, motivated. Now compare that to the moments you've sat through the same shallow talk with no direction, just filling time. How did that feel? Draining, dull, pointless? That contrast tells you everything you need to know about where your energy should go. This is where sharpness starts, not in the middle of a project, but in how you treat the minutes between tasks, in how you speak, in how you listen, in how you respond. Mental isn't built during the big events. It's built in the small choices you make every day. When you choose not to engage in gossip, when you skip conversations that you know are a waste of your attention, when you let silence do the work of clearing your thoughts, talk less